Hello, welcome to DeKalb Talks Tourism. This is a very special show. It's the first time that we've ever had 4 people in our studio, so that's groundbreaking news. And it's the first time we have an internationally known artist in our studio. So, welcome, El Cid.
Thank
and
you. Thank
tell
you.
us about yourself. And
Yeah, my name is Alif. I'm an artist who create like big art installation, like painting and sculpture, all around the world. And I've created my kind of own visual language, and I use it, to speak about things that are close to my heart, to bring light into communities, to create conversation between people, between generation, between culture. And I'm here in Georgia, like for now a week. I've created an art piece in Chambly a few days ago, and I'm about to start a new piece in Clarkston. And the idea is to always having the community from the place to get involved into the process, because I like to get the sense of ownership, like painting with the community and then involving them so they can feel that the piece is theirs as well.
well, and really this comes into Commissioner Ted Terry. You are the one that pulled off a miracle right here in DeKalb County. So tell us about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, James. And yes, so I do represent Super District 6 here in DeKalb County, including Clarkston and Chambly. And we have really been focusing and promoting and wanting to invest more in public art here in DeKalb County. And so when the Alif Institute reached out about this opportunity for LC to be here and participate and bring some amazing art to our community, it was something I knew, and I knew that the Board of Commissioners would really jump at the chance to sort of, codify with a contract and MOU and get all the approvals we have to do because it's government. Of course, we're working with LC for the mural at the Clarkston Library, which is part of the DeKalb County Library System. And we just truly believe that art allows for the community, one, to express themselves, but also for folks who might not be familiar with different backgrounds, cultures, languages, to have a chance to interact, to expand their knowledge and their understanding, maybe become a little bit more enlightened about the opportunity we have here in DeKalb as being one of the most diverse counties in Georgia in the Southeast. And so, as I think many of y'all know, Clarkston has been welcoming refugees for 40 plus years. We've received a lot of Arabic-speaking refugees in the last few years related to the Syrian refugee crisis. We've had refugees from Iraq and Afghanistan who have literally started their lives over in Clarkston in DeKalb County. And so many of them go to the Clarkston Community Center and the library on a regular basis. So this is really a phenomenal opportunity to bring a world-renowned artist. Thank you so much, El Cid, for being here and all the time that you've put into going around the community. And I'm just looking forward to the conversation and going by and seeing the mural as it's crafted and installed.
Well, Mona, you're really the person we have to thank for bringing El Cid in. So tell us a little about you and your institute.
Well, I'm the executive director for Alif Institute. It's an Arab cultural organization. We've been around for 20 years now. And our vision is a one world united with the power of arts and culture. And we take that very seriously. We approached El Cid actually after I listened to him on a podcast he was doing, or an interview, I'm not sure, and the way he was expressing his vision and his approach to his art, I was like, this is exactly what we do at Alif. It would be a lovely and a great opportunity to be able to collaborate somehow. And we had a mutual friend, and he was gracious enough to accept the invitation. And here we are.
Well, we're so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
And we're excited you were able to do, a mural in Clarkston, and you're working towards finishing up the mural at the Clarkston Library.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about your experience. So obviously it's probably not your first time to the United States, right?
No, I used to live in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when I finished school, I came to New York. I lived like a few years here and then Canada. But I mean, I come a lot. I come at least 2 or 3 times a year to the U.S., different parts, Chicago, LA, New York mostly actually, and
So it might be your first time to the South.
yeah, first time, yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
that's got to be an experience because the South is very different than all those places you just mentioned.
I love, I love the kind of hospitality of the people here. I really felt it. Like, I mean, I love like, the mayor of Clarkston, like Miss Beverly. She's really welcome, and all the people that we met, like, Mayor Brian, like in Chambly, and all the people. What I love about the, like when you create art in the public space, you create those moments, those experience, and having people coming and witnessing, the artwork and also participating, like just create this kind of ambience, and then you get to know the people and speak with them and understanding also, like understanding a place, like we always say, like in Tunisia we have this word that says you enter a place with its people, and I think that's it is. I cannot come to Clarkson if I didn't know anybody like that. We started with Mona, and then I meet you, and then all the people we've been meeting over a week was, there was a lot of warmth, and I love that.
So you were kind of talking in your opening the process to each mural.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of go through that. I thought it was so intriguing that you have an artist quote in each of the murals.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
So I have created, my kind of own visual language where, I take poetry quote from a writer that I then translate into Arabic, and then I just play with them, on my, I play with the letter in my work. And just for example, in Chambly, I found this quote from this writer called Susie Kyle, who wrote fiction under the name of Diana Palmer. And she was raised, actually, she went to school, all the way to high school in Chambly. She was born in 1946, and she had this beautiful quote that says, walls work both ways. They keep people out, but they keep people in too. Yeah. And our first meeting, like Mayor Brian Mock last week, he was telling me, like this the politics that he was having in the city, like in having everybody welcome and this kind of inclusion and diversity. And so I was like, actually, this fits perfectly. Sometimes you think you're excluded from somewhere, but actually you're included somewhere else. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna create this. So I created this kind of abstract artwork with my letters, and you have the message, like the real message of Diana Palmer in the middle of the wall. So the idea is, it's important that people see my work from different point of view. The first layer is for me, the aesthetic. I want people to see the work, and it's like they can be like, I like or I don't like it, and then they will ask, is there a meaning behind this? And then you explain the meaning. And then is the context, why I paint the word of Diana Palmer in Chambly. I won't paint that in New York because what's the link between Diana Palmer and New York?
Right.
So it's important for me to make people feel, the community, that there's a sense of belonging. And that's why I invited people to come and paint with me on Sunday.
The other part I thought was pretty amazing is Brian showed me pictures, and he said it's in the light blue. Well, one, I'm semi-colorblind, but that really wasn't the case. He had to literally point out in the center was the quote, because I looked at it, and I'm sitting, and then all of a sudden, once he pointed out to me, it was just glaring in my face, but I couldn't find it. So it was very cool how, and he even said, depending on where you look at it, is how much you really see it.
Yeah.
And I think that is so intriguing. As well from an artistic point of view.
Yeah, because the background of the wall is gray, so I painted a kind of ton sur ton, light gray over a darker gray. And actually, there's, as you said, there is an angle where you stand, where you can see the phrase. And some of the picture we had, like it looks like there's nothing. It's just like the black calligraphy with the pink. But then actually, when you're driving from the right side of the street, when you're maybe on the sidewalk of the city hall, you can see it and read it.
And to me, just that extra artistic touch was amazing.
Thank you, James.
So tell us about your what is getting you going with the Clarkston mural.
I think Clarkston, when we first talked with Mona and Alif Institute, and thinking of me coming to Atlanta, I was like, I would have to come, and create an art piece, here in the state. It was important for me not to just come and create something aesthetically nice, but it was important for me to tell a story, and when we heard about Clarkston, I found it really interesting, and it was going into, the kind of theme that I approach with my work. And as like as you mentioned, Clarkston is actually the most diverse city in the U.S. And there's like the refugee have been like living there like for decades. And as an artist, I wanted to bring light into Clarkston, but from a kind of different point of view. Usually when we speak about refugee or migrant, we always have this idea of burden. Those people are coming from far, trying to maybe take something or take advantage of a situation. And I think I wanted to create a piece that will highlight, these people from a different point of view, saying like actually they're an asset. How those people, they come and they become an asset, they become part of society, and they're active and involved into society. And this is what I'm trying to do with my work. I'm not stating something. I'm trying to open a conversation and maybe change the perception that people can have on migrant and refugee, like on a global level.
Very, very, very much needed. And feel free, anytime you all want to talk, that's fine.
Yeah, and I'll add that, what Alcides is really referring to is that there's so many opportunities for someone who doesn't know about another culture
Right.
or an ethnic group or a nationality, and there are going to be so many barriers. And I like the quote about the walls, because it's kind of the physical, but also sort of metaphorical. We can put up our own walls that prevent us from trying to understand or even engage with a different culture. And we're sort of in a political moment now where it's about like keeping people out. But Clarkston and DeKalb County have been welcoming refugees for 40 plus years. And because of that, not only is DeKalb County a stronger community, but we're more vibrant. And as we were sort of saying before we began the show, the opportunity to have art, music, food, culture in a 1 square mile area, but really just in this part of DeKalb County, is a true opportunity. And meeting, and what's really exciting also is that when you think about specifically the young refugees that come here, they have to start their lives over in so many ways. And some of them have been in refugee camps for almost their entire lives. And so any opportunity we can to engage with them, to inspire them, and then to welcome them as new Americans, it's not only going to make our country and our community stronger, but I like to think that it's a way for us to build bridges and take down those walls, to say that instead of having wars and putting up those walls, that we should be embracing our fellow human being, despite of their backgrounds or cultures. And art and culture and music and food really can help bridge those divides where we think we're so different, but actually we're very, very similar in so many ways.
Well, I love this because we've started a new signature series. The first one is tomorrow on events, quality of life, and economic impact. The second one is planned to be cultural training, how to deal with different cultures, how to be accepting of different cultures. So this was just a great opening to what we want to be as our next signature series event. We need to bring you back.
Okay, I'm in.
We need some more artwork too. We need to do a trail. Each of our cities having a piece.
Well,
of
we have
work.
artists we can connect you with for sure.
That'd be very cool.
If I can add one thing, we pursued the library for a specific reason. I looked at many other options in Clarkston, but the library stayed the whole time as a top choice. And a main reason for this was what the library represents. It's a neutral place where everybody can be in there, and it's a free place to exchange ideas, whether it's through the books or through dialogue. And it's the perfect place to reflect what we're doing. There's no judgment, there's no barriers. And it falls very well with the quote that was selected as well. It's the power of the books and the reading and the arts and the writers to be able to get the messages through between people with no barriers. Everybody. I think I heard the other day, I don't know where I heard this, saying that ideas have no boundaries. They go over walls. They float, and you cannot hold them down. And I think the library represents something like this, where all the communities you've been talking about are there, and they can find a place to exchange their commonalities and there are differences.
That is so cool because we were literally racking our brain to figure out where we could go in Clarkston, but then in Chamblee.
Mm.
So never ever thought about a library.
Yeah.
Maybe would have thought about a bookstore, but I didn't even think about that. So that's so cool.
Yeah, I was standing there and I'm like, the library. And then I thought, oh, no, this is going to take too long. We don't have time. So I started looking for other things. But somehow the circle
That's why we
went
have
around.
Commissioner Ted.
Exactly. And that's where we got all the help we could, and from you as well. So thank you both.
Well, I'm really glad that y'all chose the library. DeKalb County really has been known for years as having one of the best library systems in the state of Georgia, with 24 libraries around DeKalb County. So a library, in so many ways, is a microcosm for the community that it represents. And we have a Chamblee library, and that demographic is represented, in the patronage of the library from the Chamblee residents, and every little spot around DeKalb County. They're spread out all over the county.
Right.
So Clarkston really is a library for the people who live in Clarkston, and so we should be culturally competent and involve the community that goes there to see the things and the messages and the ideas that reflect their backgrounds. That I think it really gives us the opportunity to make it feel more welcoming and inviting. And then, as we've really talked about, we want at the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners, we've invested this year alone $350,000 to expand more public art projects, murals, sculptures. Public art is very broad.
Right.
I personally like the murals because we have a lot, as y'all are going around, we do have like a lot of just walls where they're just painted gray, or one color. And so for years, going back to when I was mayor of Clarkston, and we began doing public murals in Clarkston, it became clear when we were looking for locations and you start thinking about where can we do murals, all of a sudden everywhere you drive or walk in your community, you say, hey, we could put a mural there and we could put one right there. So this is a good opportunity for us to begin to think, libraries, community centers, reaching out to our business community to say, hey, you've got this, there's a gas station, at the entrance to DeKalb over on 285. You drive into DeKalb and there's a wall that's just gray. All right, what a great opportunity for a mural. So I really appreciate your medium because in so many ways it's hard to ignore it.
Yeah.
I've seen the very large ones that you've done that go take whole buildings, which is amazing.
So that would be very cool to come back and do something really big. I know you all, I think we're looking at it's not, Commissioner, it's that tall, I'd call it like a grain elevator in Chamblee across from MARTA downtown. But what was that?
They said it used to be for grains, and now it's a private property.
So that would have been cool to have done a large. We didn't have the time to get through the politics of that one, but that would have been cool to have a really large piece of work that you could do, that you'd be seeing it from Chamblee downtown, but it would be up there.
Which one is the white building?
Yeah.
I spotted
you
it straight
liked.
away, actually, when I came to Chambly the first time. I was like, oh, that's a nice spot.
Yeah, just it was only a week or two to get that
time.
done, but that could be like a long-term concept. We could work towards that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can plan on this and then invite to see it again.
Yeah.
If I may add one more thing, I think you talked about the diversity in Clarkston and the different ethnicities. I think a very important thing about this mural is it uses Arabic calligraphy, and you have Arab refugees as well. And one thing would be really, in this case, is the representation. People also want to feel that they are part of the bigger community and they're represented in some way. Now, with this little project, we're representing a small segment of your community, but this is something to be thinking of future-wise, is how do we represent the different segments that we have here? Not to put them on the map and separate them, but actually for them to find that they have also some kind of representation and a voice here. So this is a good idea, or a good medium right now, what we're doing for the Arab refugees, and hopefully for others as well. This can happen through other artists and other mediums.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
representation is important in a way.
Yeah. I'm just always sort of cognizant of our future artists, and I think that just from my own point of view of being someone who's not an artist but an art lover is the inspiration that comes. And so, I know you were mentioning that you developed your name when you were young.
Yeah.
16, you said?
16, yeah.
And so, what in so many ways, I hope that there are young Clarkston residents, whether they're native born or foreign born, are inspired by your work and say, maybe I want to do this, or maybe I want to, participate, like you said, in the future and create more art in the community.
But that's the point. I think, when you create art in the public space, you bring this, you can inspire people, not necessarily for somebody to become an artist, but to show to people that, yes, this is possible. I always say that, it's more difficult to be an artist than to be a lawyer or like a doctor or an engineer, because, the path is limited, but the idea is it's to show that if you're motivated or if you love something and you think you have the skill to achieve it, just go for it, and we scared sometimes we give up on our dreams because of the way people make us feel, like they throw their fears on us, and then we just step back and like, okay. But when at the beginning, when you have a dream, like mostly the fear is not there. It's like people make you think of what can go wrong if you take this path. And me, I didn't study art. Nobody around me encouraged me to take an art path. And I used to be a business consultant, and I dropped my job 14 years ago, the day before the birth of my daughter. So that was a big leap of faith, and today I don't regret it. And back in the days, everybody was telling me, don't do that. You're crazy, you're making good money, you're stability.
And your wife must have been really happy.
Yeah. But it was a call for myself, I knew it. I felt it deep inside, and there's something sometimes you cannot explain to people. You feel something, this is the right thing to do, and you just go and you jump, and this is it. And that was my call years ago, and I always say to people, if it didn't work, I would have come back to my job as a consultant. Everything that I've learned before, it's not because you change your path that you're losing everything you've done. So what you learned before, you will use it in your new journey, and that's how it happened. And I'm glad, I'm glad I took this decision years ago.
Well, while you were talking about your inspiration, have you or do you write down like a little short synopsis of your inspiration for each individual artwork that we could like have one for the Chambly and one for the Clarkston that could be on our website or on your website, or make a little plaque?
Yeah, that's what will happen in Chambly. I will share. When I will start posting on my social media, I will write a statement about on every project that I do. I write a short statement of why I'm doing this, and and like I said, explaining the different layers of the artwork. And what is funny in Chambly, I didn't notice that is I created my artwork, and then she noticed, and then I was like, actually, that's true. The artwork looks like wings, when you're standing in front of it, you feel like you have wings behind your back, and and that was like totally not planned, and so I like.
That's perfect though, with PDK right back there.
That's right. Yeah, the airport could fly.
It looks like angel wings, so it was not.
Well, that's so important for people like me that I like art, but I'm not an artist, and many times I really don't understand it. But when I get the concept of it, then go, oh, okay. Yeah. So I think that's really important that you do that, and that we have it, and look at figuring out how we get it to both pieces.
Well, we'll be having something that shows the art itself and the collaboration and all the entities who went into putting this art together, the writer, the poet, and all the information that goes into, so people can understand what they're looking at.
Well, I have to say, you and El Cid has got me to where we're going to do like a art trail or something.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yes, that would be great.
Kick it off with your two pieces, and then we can get the Chambly pieces coming in soon, and it just go around, because you mentioned how many murals are in Clarkston, and we know there's several murals in Chambly, and there's probably murals a lot of other places.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just speak to that because, this is, Discover DeKalb. And so, part of, I think, one of our economic development strategies is we want people to visit DeKalb County. And so we want to have amazing works of art and cultural things that make people want to come here, right? That's just good for our economy.
Definitely.
But the reason why the Board of Commissioners is using public, our tax money to invest in public art is for that very reason, that we want DeKalb to be known as a place that embraces art, culture, music, all the things that I think really make life worth living. But another little piece of it, and LC kind of mentioned it, is that not everyone can be an artist, but everyone can be creative and can be inspired, encouraged to be creative in their own lives. And specifically something that has come up over the last several years in our education system, if you've heard of STEM education, right? Science, technology, engineering, math. That's been a very sort of cold, hard, calculated, we got to get people in the sciences and the engineers because we have to do this important work. Now they're really the concept of adding an A, art, so STEAM, and the concept of involving creativity in every aspect of our economy, of our lives, being a county commissioner, that creativity in our own space can open up and unlock new ways of looking at things, new possibilities, which ultimately are going to benefit the public. And I try to embrace creativity in the work that I do as an elected official. But everyone, whether you're an engineer, scientist, a school teacher, it doesn't matter. You embrace creativity in your life, it opens up so many possibilities, and you go down a path that you never thought you could go down, and it could be something that could change your life forever.
True. Sometimes the value of something doesn't lie on the fact that you can't measure it, and you cannot measure like courage or love or pride, but art bring all this. Art can bring pride, but you cannot quantify. You cannot quantify like the pride of somebody to have an art piece in his neighborhood. You cannot find the love of people for the city, but it's here. It's intangible, but you cannot measure it. And that's why sometimes, people cannot understand the power or the impact of art, because, most of the time I had this conversation years ago with one of my friends. He's like, what's the impact of the project you did there? And I'm like, what, like KPI you asking me? Like, what did it bring? But I see it personally on every place that I go, what it brings to people. And what it brings most is emotion, and emotion I think is fuel, like for people to move on. Yeah.
If I may add to what Sid said, we see this at Alif when people come and be part of the experiences that we provide. It creates dialogue. So whether it's art or any other kind of experience, it creates dialogue between people, and it opens up paths that they never thought of, because it's a very low-key way of engaging with somebody else without pressure. And even when you're looking at a piece of art or being part of a project to execute, or just experiencing a simple culinary art even, it gives you that very calm and low-key environment to be able to engage and be yourself. And it opens up fascinating dialogues that people did not understand. And nobody leaves without something new in their perception. And it is really fascinating.
Definitely so. So at the I've been saying Alif
Yes.
Institute, do you have a lot of, do you want to describe if you walked over to the Institute, what would you see when you walked in the door?
Well, you'll see a lobby full of different mediums and different mediums for expression. Some of them are visual arts, others are different things. We have programs that we use them as our tools to execute our mission. So really, if people look at our website, they'll see different programs, but it's really not about the programs. It's more about the experience that people do through those programs. So we use the language, the art workshops, the culinary arts, the music for people to come and learn about Arab culture. But what we really focus on and we hope for is what people come out of it by being part of this experience.
Now you have a big festival every year.
We do. It's once a year in the fall, and we do it for 2 days. And we get around 7,000 people attending in 2 days.
Now, do you have the dates for this year?
Yes, it's October 5th and October 6th.
Great.
Full day. So
So
come
we're excited
over.
about
And
that.
we hope people join us. And we've been having people come from 4 states, which was the last couple of years after COVID. And even vendors are coming from different states, which is a big deal to our growth, another stepping stone into growing again.
Wonderful. Now you mentioned culinary, and LC, you mentioned pre-show culinary. So tell us about your new project. I think you just launched like this week.
Yeah. 2 days ago, I launched my brand of olive oil. I've been actually we've been harvesting olives, for generation, and producing our own olive oil in my family in south of Tunisia. So we have a farm. And 6 years ago, I just wanted to see the process which happened. The harvest is end of October, early November, and so I took my kids and I'm like, okay, let's go help my parents in the harvest. And actually, I loved it. And then I bought a land that used to belong to my great grandfather. So with olive trees that were planted by my great grandfather, and so I start learning about olive oil, the harvesting, tasting, and also become a sommelier in olive oil. Which is
I did not know there was such a thing.
Yeah, there is such a thing, exactly. So I'm officially a olive oil sommelier, and we certify organic our lands. Mine, my dad, my cousin, and then I created this brand called Tacape, TACAPAE. And the idea is not to offer olive oil; it's an art piece, a collectible art piece filled with olive oil. So every year the bottle design change. Yeah,
There we go.
Yeah, exactly. So every year the bottle design change, and the idea is it's not LC olive oil. It's yes, I'm behind the project, but the idea is to every year invite an artist to the farm so they can experience the harvest and also design the bottle. So like those bottles that you can see on the screen, like the limited edition, and then so if you don't grab it now, it won't be available. I mean, maybe probably on eBay in a few weeks, and that's the goal. And the thing is to recreate this kind of ecosystem in the region in south of Tunisia, with my family, where like everybody benefits, from this. I mean, from this tradition, and I fell in love with this, and I was like, I would love to share that with the world, but mixing it with art.
Are you going to carry his olive oil?
If he would allow me, I would love to.
Okay.
We've got to get a bottle just because of the show.
Okay, I send you one.
Man, that is just, and it'd be cool to actually have that, and then like again, the inspiration of it because it's art.
Yeah, it is art. And for example, that's the last piece. I posted that just today. Like when I started this journey on the land, the first land that I bought, there was 31 trees that were planted by my great grandfather, and that's what made me want to get this land. I didn't know, and as a tribute to my great grandfather, on every edition there is like 31 bottles that are unfinished, and signed. So each of these 31 bottles that are different, but they're packed in exactly the same package as the other one. So it's a kind of golden ticket Willy Wonka. So you buy something, you might get a hand-finished piece, which is an original
That's
artwork.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, while you're in town, you need to take him to Distillery of Modern Art
Yeah.
because
Where is that?
it's in downtown Chambly.
Okay.
Distillery of Modern Art they've tied in the concept of making gin, vodka, and soon to be, they're going to be on our podcast right when the whiskey comes out.
Okay.
So their bottles are artwork, not in the concept of this, but when you look inside, each brand of, like, they've got maybe 5 different brands or something, has a different piece of artwork.
Okay.
So on the wall in the actual restaurant, you can see the artwork and the artist. That particular bottle will have the artwork inside of it.
Okay.
And then they do different art installations throughout the month. So it's like a venue location. It actually got written up as number 7 special venue
Amazing.
in Explorer, Georgia. But for you, especially because of the bottle being artwork, the art in the area, and then they make craft cocktails and all right there, and they have tapas version food.
Okay.
Just a great place for him to see because of that.
I would love to go.
Yeah, we'll go.
Yeah.
Plan for
You
it.
need to take him.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
We'll go. Let's go.
And that's like with this.
I'd take you, but I have a big event tonight to get ready for the big event tomorrow. Or I'd be taking you right now.
Thank you, James. No, but the idea of this project is also like not just the olive oil, but really connecting to art. So we're planning with my team, like hopefully to open an art residency actually on the in the middle of the farm on the house of my grandfather that was actually abandoned like 30 years ago, and having people come there because the town where I'm from in south of Tunisia is like the only sea oasis in the world, and it's like deep down in the south by the sea. It's a beautiful place, and I think it's not really known by people. But by bringing something, like different, which is kind of hospitality, but also this kind of ecotourism and art, so you change the perception, about the place, and hopefully one day you come, guys.
Absolutely. All right. We're going to set up a delegation visit.
Yeah,
I was sitting there
Tunisia.
thinking that we really need to do a podcast the next time the artist plans the bottle, and then be there and film it and do the story around that, and then have it like exclusively that when it's calling United States, having it like exclusively here at the Institute.
Well, Alif is planning a trip to Tunisia. We'll let you know. Maybe you can join us.
That would be very cool, because just doing things like that. Now, just for I don't know how we are in time, but just for curiosity, is all the olives going to make olive oil, or are you doing olives in addition to olive oil?
What do you mean?
Like I love olives, just eat olives.
Yeah.
Are you selling or bottling actual olives in your olive oil, or is it just
Olive oil. No, it's just olive oil. So we just press the olive oil. We press the olive, and we make it olive oil. So the only product that I'm selling is olive oil. I'm not into the food, like all the product that goes beside it.
That's still
Just
awfully cool.
The process of creating a really good olive oil is as difficult, if not more, than good wine.
So you need to have like the wineries do, kind of like a restaurant where you can experience olive oil, and then
hopefully, like, the thing is to create, like, tasting of olive oil, because I think most of the people don't. I mean, for example, the color of olive oil is not a criteria to define if it's good or bad. So when you do olive oil tasting, you usually use blue or red glass just to change the color. So, and then you know a good olive oil from three criteria, which is the fruitiness, when you smell it first, and you feel it in your mouth, and the bitterness you mostly feel on both sides of your cheek, and then the pungency, which is a criteria that tell you that you have polyphenol or not, and the polyphenol is the anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer. So actually, I advise everybody to drink like 1 spoon or a small cup of olive oil in the morning. 1 spoon, like a soup spoon, like a big spoon of olive oil every morning. There's nothing better for your health. Yeah.
that is so cool. And to me, this does all revolve around art, different versions of art.
Yeah. And James, my degree is in nutrition, and so I can vouch for everything he says.
Thank
Olive oil
you.
is so good for your health.
Yeah.
You have a degree in nutrition.
I do, yes.
I know that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's a key part of the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a very heart healthy diet.
Yeah.
So
I would love Mediterranean diet. My wife can't eat most of the item, or won't eat most of the items. Right?
There's nothing better than that.
Being Greek, of course, I would
Yeah.
like Mediterranean. So, well, I know you're on a schedule. I don't
Yeah.
actually know what the time is. So if you want to wrap up, we can
10.
look at anything you want. Anybody want to close with anything about the Institute or about this week?
I would say, this is a bit for us. It's of course it's an honor, but it's a beginning for more programs that are going to come, more collaborations. Hopefully, we will have different other programs that you will see coming, whether to DeKalb or to Atlanta in general. We will do collaborations with other artists and other people, whether in Atlanta or international. So keep an eye on that.
No, we're excited.
Come visit Alif. Check us out. We have a lot of things for everybody.
Commissioner?
just want to say thanks to Discover DeKalb and Alif Institute and LC for being here and really just bringing your talents and your gifts to DeKalb County and our people and our residents and our community. And so I'm looking forward to the Clarkston Library project completion, and you're more than welcome. We send a welcome back to you anytime, and looking forward to expanding our partnership and connections with you across the ocean. Thank you.
Now, Saeed, we appreciate you coming here.
Thank you, James.
We appreciate having two pieces of artwork that we can start marketing now and promoting. And and that cultural aspect that you put into it, I think, is just a win-win scenario there. And we appreciate all that. So if there's anything you want to close with, and then we'll just end the show.
I would love to say that I appreciate the hospitality and the warmth of the people here, and I see myself as I travel around the world, I like to compare myself as a wave that crash into the shore. So you come, like the wave comes, drop some sand and take some sand with it. And so I think I come and I drop a part of me, but I come, I take actually all those beautiful memories and moments, that we share together. So that's what I'm doing. And I will leave Georgia with a lot of great moments and a lot of nice souvenirs.
Well, thank you, and we will welcome you back. Or we're working on some that might be just a website-based podcast with you and others. And thank you for joining our first international podcast. Thanks, and tune into our next show.